And hello everyone, and welcome back to week 82 of our Minecraft Let's Play series. How are you all doing? I hope you're all doing very well this fine week. If I sound a little bit different, I apologize. I have moved locations, so yeah, that's going to be a little bit different. But that is not going to change us from doing, important tasks this week. I could have said that better, but whatever. Let me just get into what we're doing. So, as per usual, we've got the villager hall with us needing to grab more masons and possibly a new occupation for the villagers because I'm hoping to get the masons done this week. Then we have the villager hall nether room, which as you can see from these 4 shulker boxes right here, I went ahead and gathered the items that we're going to need for them. Then I have jelly statue written down in here. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with it, but I will at least try to do something. Base decoration, the pond decoration that we were doing last week I'd like to finish, and we might get around to these two. The resin farm, I don't know exactly what I want to do with that. We definitely need to tear it out, so that's on here. But we also might see if I can figure out a way to easily farm the creaking hearts, so we'll get around to that. And then finally, we've got the piglin bartering system, specifically the organization of the chest at the output, as well as I have made a few slight tweaks to the farm that I would at least like to show you guys this week. But without further ado, you know exactly where we're going, so let's just get started. We need to head into the nether so that we can go ahead and go over to our villagers over here to move them over into our villager hall. This is also a reason why it was actually pretty good that I didn't work on the villager hall nether room, because this is going to be a little bit more difficult when we get that built, but we're also building that this week, so I will see what the repercussions, but yeah, we're going to send them off over to where the portal is, and then when they get over here, we'll go ahead and send them through the portal, flying back and repeating for the other 7 villagers that I have for this week. And once we actually have all of our villagers at the villager hall, we're going to be doing this a little bit differently than we usually do, because we only need 1 more mason, and that is to get the 1 terracotta color that we are missing, which I'm not actually sure what that is. Give me a moment. Light blue. We're missing light blue. We are going to focus on trying to get that light blue terracotta and then decide after the fact what we're going to be doing. So I'm going to place down stonecutter here, and we're just going to wait until one of these guys picks up the job. Once one of them picks up the job, however, and of course he's in the far back, we're going to be trading the usual brick trades with him. And then we'll trade these stone trades. Then we're going to look at the rock trades here, and this is actually going to be what decides on whether or not we keep the villager, because the stone trades that can be right here can be andesite, diorite, granite, polished diorite, or dripstone. Essentially anything that just isn't polished granite or polished andesite. And because we have polished granite here, this guy is not allowed to stay, essentially. And then we just keep running. Alright, so I have realized I've made a mistake doing this, because this guy is now angry because I attacked his friend. So I'm gonna get him out of here. Come on, not you. Oh, I guess we can do you instead. So I guess this isn't too different from how we've usually been doing it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and place it about here. Hope that he actually picks up this job instead of looking over there. Pick up the job that is closer to you, sir, please. This guy has more expensive trades, but I will try and trade with him nonetheless, even though he's gonna run me dry because of him being upset. Actually, you know what? No, bye. I'm sorry, sir, but you're gonna run me dry. We're not gonna do this. Okay. I think I'm gonna have to wait a little bit for these guys to actually not be angry at me for taking out one of their friends in front of them. So give me a moment. Alright, so here is something awkward that I just realized that I didn't know that this actually happened with villagers. These guys' trades are now going to be this poor the entire time because I decided to take out that one villager. No matter who gets the job that I, would like to trade for, like this person even selling 10 bricks for 9 emeralds. That's an emerald per brick, which is ludicrous. None of these guys are gonna give me any good trades anymore because I took out their friend, which I did not realize was the case, because I literally have been taking out villagers when they don't give me the trades that they want right next to other villagers. So I don't see why that changed anything. Maybe they're just way too close, but yeah, no. All those villagers I now brought in, even including this one, they all hate me, and I don't think think there is any easy way of raising that reputation back up. So this batch of villagers, because I did that one simple stupid action, might be a wash now, which really sucks because, well, I don't want to necessarily do anything with these guys then, because there are some ways that you can increase your reputation among villagers, which is literally just like you trade with them to raise them up a level, but that's going to require so many emeralds now, and I don't want to do that. There's also Hero of the Village. I don't want to bring a raid over here. So I think honestly at this point, they might not get to last long here. Let's just put it that way. Yeah, no, that honestly really does suck. But if that's just how it's going to be, then I would rather wait a week on these, because we've honestly been trading with these guys a lot in the past few weeks, because I've been trying to get this done before the second year is over, which I believe currently where we're at the moment is we've got 22 weeks before that happens, from this week at least. But if that's just how it's going to go with the Masons, I am not going to even bother. So yeah, it does suck. I apologize. I didn't know that was going to happen with the villagers, that if I took one out near them that they were going to get upset, but I should have known. My apologies. Oh well. Instead, what we'll go do now is we'll head back to our base and work on something that is actually worth our time. So I will see you guys back at our base then. Actually, instead of going ahead and, going back to my base just to bring us here, why not just start working on the next thing that I wanted to do, which is work on our villager hall portal. Now, this is going to have a lot of issues that go with it because of the fact that I had to have this setup made for villagers not to get out while we're trying to transport them, and at the moment, I'm not going to worry about that. Instead, we are just going to build the villager hall room, which is going to be the most complicated one, as you saw with the long list last week, I believe, of items that we're going to need, which I actually do have in my inventory, don't worry about it. But just like the other rooms, don't worry, I'm not going to show you guys the whole building process, but I will show you guys every step that I end up taking. So without further ado, let us get started. Which first we now need to move the obsidian portal up, and that also means that we need to take out this border that we have around here, as well as the rails actually, and remove them at least until, well, we've got the area that I usually work with around here. And now that we've got the portal moved up, it's time to work on the floor around it. I'm waiting for one of these times where I'm actually building this for a gas to spawn, so I feel like it's only in due time. And there we go, that's how the floor is going to be looking for at least the base floor, because you can tell I'm trying to recreate what we have exactly in the villager hall. So got the librarians over here, the hodgepodge of different job sites over here, the Fletchers, brewers, and farmers over here, and then the masons and shepherds over here. So now I think what we need to do is probably add in the post that will make the gateway for this nether portal room, which end up looking something like this. And now I think what we need to do first is add the spaces that will kind of work as the second floor, which I had to kind of get creative because this room doesn't have a lot of space in it, but hopefully it will look somewhat like what we're trying to achieve. And there's the second floor done. It is similar to how we have it done on the actual villager hall, but it is not obviously the exact same because, well, again, space limitations, but what are you gonna do? Now the next thing is to finally get these walls put together, which I'm gonna go ahead and probably do section by section, and I'll just kind of show you guys what the sections look like after they're done. So I'll see you guys when they are. Okay, there is the wall for the librarian area, and before you guys think that I'm not going to be filling in those chiseled bookshelves with books, don't worry, I will. I just kind of forgot to bring them with me at the moment, so they'll be there at the end, but they will be there. Then here's the wall for the hodgepodge area of, like, I don't know, 7 different job occupations. I don't know, this one was really hard to do because you've got the, like, toolsmith, the armorer, the butchers, the cartographers, and the fishermen all together, and the leather worker. And I just realized I put it on the wrong side. It's supposed to be over here, not over here. I don't know how I did that. I was building this counterclockwise. Here's the walls made for the mason area as well as the shepherd area. And then finally here is the wall for the farmers, brewers, and the Fletchers. So now that all the walls are complete, I do want to say one thing, and that is the fact that I did not have any of the workstations here yet, because when I eventually need to actually move the newer villagers into here, I don't want to have to be worrying about the fact that they might be trying to take the jobs from here. So when we eventually have the villager hall completely filled out, that is when I will go ahead and put those occupation blocks into here. For now, the last thing we need to work on is a roof, and let me tell you, this is going to take a while for me. So I'll see you guys when it is completed. And there is the roof. I tried to make it as similar to the roof that we have in the villager hall, but obviously I had to take some creative liberties. I think all in all, it turned out all right. I've also gone ahead and tried to gas-proof the top of it with some carpets up here, as well as the stairs. And of course, the glass is already gas-proof. So I will say though that just like the spider farm, there are mobs that can spawn in here. Magma cubes do have a chance of spawning on these blocks, but like I said, as long as they're not mobs that can cause any grief damage to the build, I don't really mind them spawning. They'll be annoying, but they won't be destructive. But either way, like I said, all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. Again, condensing that build that has so many blocks in it down to a 25 diameter circle is kind of hard. So yeah, I'm happy with what I ended up doing with the space that I had. And like I said, I'll be putting the occupation blocks here eventually, but for now, that's gonna have to wait. And just like last time, I'm going to go ahead and head in here to make sure that this actually takes us over to the villager hall. It does, thankfully, and that means that we can go back and this time actually head over to our base so that I can go ahead and work on the next thing on our list. So yeah, I will meet you guys over there. And now that we are actually back, there are a few things that I want to get done really quick, because they're very small things. You may remember on our list that I have base decoration on here, and I know I do have the waterfall fix and expanding the wall on here, because they are things that do need to be done, but probably for this week, what I'm just going to focus on is finishing the pond change, because last week, we went ahead and added this lovely decoration to our pond right here, and it has cattails, the firefly bushes, just regular grass, moss carpets, the newer bushes, lily pads, the seagrass, these smaller drip leaves, the amethyst geodes, and I honestly was very happy with all of this. And I think I want to have that going all the way under our bridge, even though it wouldn't be, too far under our bridge, and coming out on this side as well. And of course, heading over to here too. I probably won't do anything on this side because of the fact that we've got the waterfall here that I probably will change a bit, but I do want to go ahead and actually detail the area around here the exact same that we did over at the other side of this. So you guys know how I did this last time, so I'm not going to show you guys each step. I'll just show you guys the finished version. I'll see you guys in a bit. And here it is, or at least here's one angle of it. I did what I did last time. There is a bunch of foliage. I didn't go around there like I said I was going to. There's a decent amount of these cattails that I tried putting around. You can see some over there, and if I actually come around to the other side of this building, I put a decent amount over here. And then of course it goes all the way throughout this water. All the details. I did end up running out of the smaller drip leaves this plant, and that does mean we are going to have to go ahead and probably find some more of these because I do like these as a little bit of a decoration. But for now, we're not going to worry about that. And I, of course, like I said with the side over here, I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. It definitely gives the pond a lot more life. It makes it seem like it was, well, originally a, I guess, ecosystem of its own, which might require me to go ahead and grab in some tropical fish and place them into here, or some axolotls. I'm not entirely too sure what I want to do with that. Just put something in there for a little bit more motion and also a little bit more animal life. But that's going to be for another time. I just want to go ahead and get this side done over here, even though it takes me a while to walk over here. And I think I did just that. But this isn't the only like small things that I want to get done this week. Not at all. Because in our book, you may remember that I said I want to tear out the resin farm because I didn't get to that between weeks. However, because we're going to be over there anyway, I think we also want to go ahead and tear out the copper farm that was over there and get the resources back from that. So I shall meet you guys over where the prismarine and the bad omen farm are, and we'll go ahead and start taking those out. And okay, so here we are in the area where I have built the most failed farms, I believe, so far. Because I've built, I think, 3 failed farms. This one, and the ice farm. And our objective is just to tear these 2 out. Because they not do what I was hoping they would do. Which, I mean, kind of sucks, but, you know, is my fault that I was not paying attention to... Well, I didn't test them out, let's put it that way. So yeah, let's go ahead and deconstruct this resin farm first. And as we wrap up by breaking this platform, I'm gonna have to go fly down for the materials for. The resin farm is already broken again, which only took about, I'd say, 5-ish minutes. That farm's gonna take a lot longer. Also, I need to go get buckets for that farm because I forgot it has lava on it. So yeah, that's gonna take a second. I'm gonna do something that's going to be very cathartic to me. Yep, it's slow, but this is very cathartic. And now this bit is more enjoyable than the rest because I get to just break this bottom part and we get to watch it go all the way up. But yeah, that now takes care of both farming failures that I had built around here, and we now have our resources back, thankfully. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go place all these resources back in our base, and then we will go ahead and do the last thing that I want to get done for this week. So I'll meet you guys back at our base for that. And that last project that we're going to be working on is actually finishing up our system for the piglin bartering, because there are a few things that I want to get done, specifically the sorting system for the piglin bartering, but that also came with a few issues that I need to explain. So I'm going to grab some materials from here and we'll head over there and talk about what needs to happen. Alright, so here we are with our large chest system that currently I believe has 18 rows of chest. But the thing with this is that none of these are actually being sorted currently, and that is something we want to have for the system. However, to do that, the way to sort these would be to have like comparators checking for items in here, and the lowest that would have to be is 3 blocks. The current clearance we have right now is 2, meaning that all this would need to be raised up. But not just this. These would also have to be raised up. These pistons right here would also have to be raised up. These pistons would have to be raised up. And due to that, I would have to change the redstone in the back of here as well. A lot of problems, if you could tell. Also, not to mention, I did end up going over here and making these 2 different switches. One to activate the minecarts and the other one to activate the dispensing system for the gold, as well as the timers. Which, honestly, I've realized I could also just do it like this and just get rid of the redstone right here. Hopefully I don't confuse these two. So yeah, I've got a decent amount of redstone materials as well as items to make more redstone materials if I need to. And we're going to be getting to work on fixing these components, probably starting first with the piston machines that send them right from these droppers. So what we're going to do for these at least is we are going to tower up to them with scaffolding. And essentially what we need to tear out is these observers, because these are going to be in a different position, and up to this block on both sides. So the area now looks like this. And to start, what we're going to do is place blocks right here and here. It's going to be mirrored, so technically I could just show you one side, but I'll go through the steps on both, and then place a piece of redstone on top of both of these. And I forgot, we do actually need to change one thing about this piston, and that is just the fact that instead of having a redstone here, we are going to break this block right here and place a piece of stone right there. It'll still power the piston, but does not interfere with this line. Then we'll go ahead and place some half slabs right here, place some more redstone, and then on those pieces of redstone we'll take more blocks, build out 2 wide on both, and again more redstone. Now something we do need is an observer here facing this way, so we're going to, well actually I'm not too sure how we're going to do this. I think the best way at the moment is probably to place a block down here, break this, and then place it like so. Then the other observer goes right here, so so the clock still works. Then we have a block right here, a block right here, and a block right here. Between these two blocks, there will be a repeater with 2 ticks. Torch on the end of this one. We're going to go ahead and place our piston here and here, essentially just 1 block higher than it was originally. And from here, we place down a full block behind that, and then some slabs. Essentially enough to house 3 redstone, which I just realized I've actually placed the piston in the wrong spot. It needs to be 1 block back. It's fine though, we can fix it. Something like that. And then just so you guys can actually see, with that trail of redstone, we're going to be putting a repeater right here, and it's going to be at a delay of 2 ticks. Or we're right clicking it to put a delay of 3 ticks is the best way for me to explain that. So 1, 2, there, so you guys can see. Then on that repeater, we're placing a block with some redstone, so it gets powered by the torch and pushes out the piston right here. Now we put blocks to the left of right of that slime block, as well as putting one above the piston head and also below the slime block. And that is essentially the whole movement for the piston. This should work, and now I need to do it to the other side. And finally, here is our storage system, our completely organized storage system that took me a lot of elbow grease and work because I had to manually fill in this like catch-all pile here because of the fact that, well, we had a lot of iron boots as well as potions of fire resistance, but I guess I also had to go ahead and fill all of these up with what we already had as well because, well, it is an automatic sorting system if you run the machine. It is not an automatic sorting system if you are inputting items into the machine. But for those curious, the sorting system is just a very simple comparator into 3 redstone, the repeater, and then the redstone torch. So I guess technically we could have done this on the same level as we had, but it would have been 1 chest shorter, which I did not want. And then you just have your item hopper up here with your item of choice for whatever you want the chest to have, and then you have the 4 items that you do not care about, which I just have sticks in all, I think 13 of these. It's 13 items, 5 catch-all rows, and I now have gold for us to actually test out this system. It theoretically should work, but just in case I mess something up, well, that's what we're here to test. So load up the gold, and then we can flick this lever to send the minecarts out. We're also preemptively going to turn down the block noises, or at least turn them off. Now we'll turn them down. And now that they've made 1 little trip, we can go ahead and flick this lever, and everything should be working. Yep, the pistons down there are working, the pistons over here are working, so items should now be getting spewed out and into the sorting system. And the reason we also have a catch-all, by the way, is because sometimes there will just be too many items for the chest to actually take in everything, or the hoppers to take in everything, so we then just have some catch-all things here just in case there's some items that get through where the original sorting system. I don't know why, it's just very satisfying to see all this kind of move. You can see the minecart hoppers up there, you can see the items flow through here and then flow into here. It's a culmination of weeks worth of effort. Yeah, we should be able to see some items flowing into here. Yeah, we just saw some seed going there. There's some soul sand flowing in, some blackstone, some gravel should also be flowing in. There's some leather, string is not in here yet. Now there are ender pearls, not surprised. Some nether bricks. Fire chargers aren't going in, that's fine. There's nether quartz, arrows, and yeah, we didn't have any iron nuggets in here originally, so that's already a great sign. But yeah, see, we've got some overflow, we've got the spectral arrows, we've got the crying obsidian, the iron nuggets, gravel. I'm not too surprised on those because when I was testing this, that's usually what fell into the overflow, but at least currently it just seems to be locked to these 2 chests, which isn't bad. But yeah, we'll want to go ahead and at the end of this kind of empty that out into their respective places. It's still a little bit of manual labor, but I honestly don't mind. The other thing that it would be is cut off those 5 chests and then just have a lava pit, but I don't want to waste items, so this is where we're at. Alrighty, looks like everything's done. We just got to go ahead and turn the machine off, which is of course the 2 levers up here. Just flick both of them. And I made it 2 levers just because I was getting tired of the delay. I said that wasn't going to bother me, but it ended up bothering me. And yeah, it looked like it worked pretty well. Sorted the items, the stacks are definitely higher than when I first checked them, so that's a good sign. Go ahead and manually take some of these out, basically anything that isn't overflow but turned into overflow because of the fact of, well, it was overflow for the hoppers, let's put it that way. But yeah, after all this time, I think we can finally say that the piglin bartering farm is now officially complete. Of course, do have to do a few things with it, but it is automated to the best of my capabilities. And I think I did a pretty good job going going off of, not a tutorial, but I did go off someone else's like picture of this, which I will be putting their video down in the description of them making this, but there is no tutorial. So I apologize if that was what you're looking for, but that is not the case. However, sadly, that is going to be it for the recordings for this week. But we did get a lot of things done nonetheless. We did fail at making more masons in the villager hall because I did not know how villagers work apparently when it comes to taking out their friends. My mistake, but we will not make that mistake going on. However, we did go ahead and make the villager hall another room though, so that at least did work out in my favor. We went ahead and finished decorating our pond back at our base, so that now looks completely fleshed out and honestly pretty nice. I might be stealing that design for future use, but we shall see. We went ahead and tore out our resin farm as well as our copper farm, gaining the materials that actually some of them did go into this build here, which was the last thing we did of course this week, and that was finishing up this build. I'm pretty happy with what we got done this week, and I hope that you guys all enjoyed as well. So yeah, thank you all for watching. You guys all take care, have a great week, and I will see you guys hopefully in the next one. Alright, bye bye.